Hi everyone, so I'm back part 2 of week 22, and this part of the week we're really just getting organised to go on holiday, and we were also getting the house a bit more organised because obviously we were going away for a week. So should the new house moving date go ahead, it meant that we had have less things to do when we got back, because obviously we're taking a week out to go on holiday. So we wanted to try and be as organised as we could before going away. So I'm using the Pocket Page. I don't think I've used one of these for a long time, but it's the one with it's the opposite way around to the most common one, with the portrait 6x4s. And I thought I'd be able to use this because I did have a few photos that I could blow up into 6x4s. And also when we're away on holiday, I find that I have so many photos that I can definitely find ones to use these more sort of awkward pocket pages rather than just the standard ones. So I'm never short of photos, so I could definitely make it work for the next week. But I'm still obviously using the Echo Park collection, the Our Story Matters collection, and I decided to use that 6x4 cut apart that I believe is supposed to be cut up and used in separate little journal tag things, but I'm just going to use them as a full 6x4, and I can write a little bit about what we did at the end of the week on there. And then the 2 6x4 photos are just pictures of my house in absolute chaos. So our sofas got taken away on the Thursday. So it meant that, we had to do that. They had to be outside at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning, but they couldn't leave them overnight. So I was up at 6 a.m. trying to get these sofas out the front door and everything. So that was quite chaotic. But we got them out, and so now we have this big gap in the living room, obviously, that we can sort of use for storage and things, but everything's just everywhere at the moment. And that photo is a picture of Moose looking at the living room thinking, what on earth is happening? So we sort of push things over to one side, and then, there's a load of cables and all sorts of electricity and stuff like that that used to run alongside, like behind the sofa sort of thing. There was like lamps and all them sort of things, so it just looks chaotic. So I did get that photo, and I'm trying to include as many photos as I can as the house sort of gets emptier, because I know that it would be interesting to look back on that. So there is a couple of photos for this week, and there will be as I move along the process. So yeah, I'm just going to use the little typewriter. I like that little, there's quite a few of them on the sticker sheet, but they're almost quite hard to use because they're quite big. But I'm going to use that one just at the bottom because there was a bit of empty space. And then I did have 6 2x2 cut aparts, so I could put them all together to make up a second 6x4, because I don't think there was any other 6x4 portrait ones I had in the collection, because I have used this one quite a lot recently, last year I think it was. So I did use up quite a few of the cut aparts, so it's quite nice to be able to use up these 2x2s. And they're just going to go underneath that photo, and then the photo that's going to go opposite that is just another photo of the upstairs, actually, where I'm just putting everything in bin bags. Like, I don't have enough suitcase space to put all my clothes in, so a lot of my clothes are going in bin bags at the moment. They're all separated into different types of clothing into each bin bag, so I know where things are, but it just means every time I want something I have to properly iron it and find it and put it back, and it's just chaos. And I know this is really serious stuff, but it's just, when your house is sort of turned upside down, you do lose track of things. And it's just, when you're doing washing, you're not putting your washing away, you put them in bin bags and stuff like that, and you're living out the same sort of clothes and things, so it can get quite tiresome after a while. But hopefully we're on the home stretch, and it means that we are going to be moving soon. We've got a lot of rid of a lot of furniture, and as I said, everything's just a bit everywhere at the moment. We're sort of trying to minimise as much stuff getting out of boxes or anything, and just sort of living quite minimalistic at the moment. But that is just how we're going to have to be. So we are going away on the Sunday, so week 23 will be a travel week, and that is when we go to Greece. So I was working right up through the week anyway, so I was working Saturday, but we were actually going to Manchester Airport on the Saturday afternoon to stay overnight, because our flight on Sunday is very early. It's 6:40, I believe. So yeah, we do have to be up quite early for that. So we decided to stay overnight, and we're staying at a new hotel. We've not stayed at the Crowne Plaza before, so that would be quite interesting to see that one. I like to sort of try different ones just to see what we prefer. We do fly from Manchester a lot, but not as much as probably the London airports, and we sort of know where to stay at London, but Manchester we still haven't found like the favourite hotel. It just really depends on the price. They are so expensive nowadays, but when you factor in the cost of like car parking and things like that, sometimes it's not even that much difference. And obviously staying overnight, you end up, getting up later because you're closer to the airport. So yeah, it's we do tend to stay overnight quite often now rather than driving to the airport. So yeah, it's one of those things that's now is like an added cost onto our holiday. We always have to think about staying overnight if we've got an early flight. So you'll see that these two photos in the middle, they're not proper photos. They're actually printed on paper. And that is because I ran out of ink in my Canon selfie, but I really wanted to get this photo up and done. And with the house move and things, I didn't really want to order anymore because couldn't guarantee that it was going to arrive on time before we moved out. And our neighbours are lovely and they will definitely help us with the post. But I don't want to have to rely on trying to find where my post things have come, where they're going. So I'm trying not to order much things at all. So I was trying to avoid having to buy some more ink. So I decided just to print out on my normal paper printer. And I thought, well, when I move into the new house, I'll just reprint these photos. But actually, once they're in the pockets, I was thinking, they don't look much different in all honesty. And now they're in the pockets, they're protected and stuff. But yeah, I just thought I'm just going to keep them now. I'm not going to reprint them. I think they're fine as they are. Obviously, they're very flimsy just being on paper, but it's, it helped me. I didn't have to wait for my new ink. So yeah, I'm just going to have to see how it goes. If the house move gets delayed again, I'm just going to have to order some more. They are pretty quick with getting it delivered, but just trying to avoid as much as I can sending things in the post at the moment. So yeah, I do decide, now that I've decided I'm just going to keep them as they are, I'm going to put some stickers on them. I was going to leave them blank and then renew them, but now that I know that I'm going to keep them, I put some stickers on there. So that is everything this week. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back next week with a travel one. Thank you very much. Bye.